Hello and welcome to Learn and Listen podcast. I'm Emma, your friendly neighborhood traveler.
And I'm Alex, your go-to guy for all things booking and planning. Today, we're going to talk about something really exciting.
That's right, Alex. We're diving into the world of booking hotels and flights. It's going to be a jet-setting adventure.
Well, more like a jet-setting from our comfy chairs kind of adventure, Emma. But it's going to be fun and informative.
Absolutely. And for our English learners out there, don't worry. We'll be taking things nice and slow, explaining any tricky words along the way.
That's right. So sit back, relax, and let's get started on our journey to becoming booking experts.
First things first, let's talk about booking flights. Alex, what's the first step someone should take when they want to book a flight?
Great question, Emma. The first step is to decide on your travel dates. It's important to be flexible if you can. Sometimes flying on different days can save you money.
Ooh, good point. Flexible means able to change easily. So being flexible with your travel dates means you're open to changing them a bit.
Exactly. Once you have your dates, the next step is to use a flight search engine. These are websites that help you find and compare flights from different airlines.
Oh, I love those. But sometimes they can be a bit overwhelming. There are so many options.
I know what you mean, Emma. It can feel like you're drowning in a sea of flights. But don't worry. I have a tip for our listeners.
Do tell.
Use the filters on these websites. You can filter by price, duration, number of stops, and even departure time. It helps narrow down your choices.
That's so helpful. Narrow down means to reduce the number of options. So you're making it easier to choose by having fewer flights to look at.
Precisely. Now, once you've found a flight you like, it's time to book. But before you click that Book Now button, there are a few things to check.
Oh, I know one. Make sure you've spelled your name correctly. I once booked a flight to Praise instead of Paris. Laughs.
Oh, Emma. Yes, that's a crucial one. Also, double-check the dates, times, and any layovers or connections.
Layovers, that's a good word to explain. Alex, what's a layover?
A layover is when you have to stop at another airport before reaching your final destination. Sometimes it's just a short wait, but other times you might have to change planes.
Thanks for explaining that. Now let's talk about some money-saving tips for booking flights. Any ideas, Alex?
Absolutely. One of my favorite tips is to use incognito mode on your browser when searching for flights.
Incognito mode. Sounds mysterious. What does that do?
It's not as mysterious as it sounds. Incognito mode prevents websites from saving your search history. Some people believe this can help you find lower prices, as the websites won't know you've been searching for the same flight repeatedly.
Wow, that's clever. Here's another tip. Be open to flying at less popular times. Early morning or late night flights are often cheaper.
Great point, Emma. Those flights are usually called red-eye flights.
Red eye? But my eyes aren't red. Giggles.
It's just a term for overnight flights. They're called that because people often have red eyes from lack of sleep after these flights.
Oh, I see. Well, I'd rather have red eyes than an empty wallet.
That's the spirit. Now, shall we move on to booking hotels?
Yes, let's do it. What's the first thing to consider when booking a hotel, Alex?
Location, location, location. Think about what you want to be close to. Do you want to be in the city center? Near the beach? Close to the airport?
Oh, that's so important. I once booked a beach hotel that turned out to be a 40-minute bus ride from the actual beach.
Oh, no. Laughs. That must have been disappointing. This is why it's crucial to read the hotel description carefully and check its location on a map.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about reading carefully, make sure to check what's included in your room rate.
Great point, Emma. Some hotels include breakfast while others charge extra. And don't forget to check if there are any additional fees, like resort fees or parking charges.
Resort fees, that's a term our listeners might not know. Can you explain it, Alex?
Of course. Resort fees are extra charges some hotels add to cover amenities like Wi-Fi, gym access, or pool use. They're not always included in the initial price you see, so it's important to check for them.
Thanks for explaining that. Now let's talk about how to choose between different types of accommodations. We have hotels, hostels, vacation rentals. It can be overwhelming.
It sure can be. The key is to think about what you need. Hotels are great for shorter stays and if you want services like daily room cleaning. Vacation rentals, like apartments, are good for longer stays or if you want to cook your own meals.
And hostels are perfect for budget travelers who don't mind sharing a room and want to meet other travelers. I stayed in a hostel once and made friends from 5 different countries.
That sounds like a great experience, Emma. Another tip, always read reviews from previous guests. They can give you a real insight into what the place is like.
Oh yes, I always do that. But remember, take very extreme reviews with a grain of salt.
Take with a grain of salt. That's an interesting phrase. Emma, can you explain it to our listeners?
Of course. It means to not take something too seriously or to be skeptical about it. So when I say take extreme reviews with a grain of salt, I mean, don't believe them completely without thinking critically.
Excellent explanation. Now, here's a money-saving tip for booking hotels. Consider booking directly with the hotel. Sometimes they offer better rates or perks for direct bookings.
That's a great tip, Alex. And don't forget to check if you're eligible for any discounts. Some hotels offer lower rates for students, seniors, or members of certain organizations.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling brave, you can even try negotiating the price, especially for longer stays.
Ooh, negotiating makes me nervous. But I guess it never hurts to ask politely, right?
Exactly. The worst they can say is no. And speaking of asking, always ask about the cancellation policy before you book. It's important to know what happens if your plans change.
That's so true. Plans can change unexpectedly, as we've all learned in recent years.
Indeed, they can. Well, Emma, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Shall we recap the main points for our listeners?
Great idea, Alex. Let's do it. For booking flights.
Excellent summary. And for booking hotels.
Wow, we've covered so much. I hope our listeners found this helpful in their English learning journey and for their future travel plans.
I hope so too. Remember, practice makes perfect. Try using some of these new words and phrases in your conversations.
Yes, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for listening to Learn and Listen podcast.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Safe travels and happy booking.